Is your name a blessing or a curse? In this video, we'll be covering a simple technique for determining if your name is lucky for you according to your astrological birth chart.
This technique can also be used to determine a name for a new business, or it can give you a general idea as to how your experience will be with a particular person, or working for a particular company, or living in a particular city.
So how does this work? Well, this technique is based on which planets are connected to the various sounds of the letters of the alphabet. When a given sound is uttered, it will briefly invoke the energy of that planet it is connected to. So therefore, it will briefly invoke everything that that planet represents in your birth chart.
So to use this technique, you want to start by looking at the first letter of your name and seeing which planet rules that letter. Remember to do this by sound and not necessarily by the letter itself. For example, if your name is Gerard, it starts with the letter G in English, but the sound will be a J sound, which invokes the energy of the planet Venus in Vedic astrology. So go by the sound. If Venus is exalted in a good house with no affliction in your birth chart, this name will prove to be extremely lucky for you. So let's look at which sounds are connected to which planets. It's important to remember that this technique is based on the 50 sounds of the Sanskrit alphabet, but many of those sounds are not present in Western languages like English, particularly the alternative T, D, and N sounds, which are ruled by Mercury.
So the sun will be invoked by any name that starts with a vowel, like Andrew or Oliver.
The moon will be connected to any name that starts with what is referred to as the semi-vowels and sibilants in Sanskrit, which are sounds like ya, ra, la, va, sha, sa, or ha. So this would include names like Vicky, Shelley, or Howard.
Mars is connected to any name that starts with guttural sounds like ka or ga. So that would be names like Kelsey or Gary.
So the energy of Venus is invoked by any name that starts with what is referred to as a palatal sound like cha or ja. So that would include names like Charles or Jerry.
As we mentioned, Mercury in Vedic astrology is connected to what is referred to as cerebral sounds in Sanskrit, which are alternative T, D, and N sounds that are not really present in English. If your name is from an Indian language, then these sounds may apply.
Jupiter is connected to any name that starts with what is referred to as dental sounds, such as ta, da, or na. This would include names like Toby, Danny, or Nancy.
Saturn is connected to any name that starts with what is referred to as labial sounds, such as pa, ba, or ma. This would include names like Pam, Brandon, or Madison. So if a person has a strong Mars in their chart and their name is Gary, that will have an auspicious effect because every time their name is said, it will amplify the energy of Mars and anything that Mars signifies in their chart.
However, if someone has a weak, afflicted, or debilitated Mars, and their name also starts with a Mars sound, like for example, Kenneth, then every time their name is said, they're reiterating the effects of the weak, debilitated Mars in their life. It would be better for this person to have some sort of nickname or business name that started with a letter corresponding to an auspicious planet in their chart.
This technique also works for understanding your relationship with other people, places, or companies which you might work for. Let's say you have an afflicted moon placed in the 6th house of your birth chart. In that case, you might have a bad experience with a person whose name starts with a sound ruled by the moon, like Harry or Robert. You could also have a negative experience if you were to live in a city like Chicago or Las Vegas, or if you worked for a company like Lululemon.
Let's say this same person has an exalted sun in an auspicious house in their chart. Then they might experience benefits from a friendship with a person whose name starts with a sound ruled by the sun, like Olivia or Alberto. They might love eating at Applebee's or have a good experience living in a city like Omaha. And they could benefit from working at a company like Apple.
You can also use this technique if you are starting a business. And this is where you can control it, right? Let's say Venus is a really good planet in your chart. Then choosing a name for your business or your company that starts with cha or ja would, as a sound, would have good results. Just make sure Venus is also in a good condition when you file for that business name. That way you will be layering positive Venus energy onto your own birth chart.
You can also use this technique to name your children. However, there are more techniques which are traditionally used for naming humans in Vedic astrology, such as using the sound associated with the moon nakshatra at birth, which is a more complicated subject that is beyond the scope of this video.
We hope you found this helpful and, of course, interesting. And don't forget to leave a like or a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And visit us at atmaoccult.com to learn more about your individual birth chart. And
watch all of our other videos.